You're a long way back. I saw at the 500-metre mark there was a couple of horses in front of you hooking out 3 wide, and you're just sort of poking through the 1 wide line. I thought Gavin knows he's a long way back and he needs a touch of luck and try and weave a passage.
Yeah, well, initially, when we sort of first went into the back, I angled out 3 wide behind Casbar Kid, and the horse in the 1 out 3 back, it sort of didn't look like it was travelling so good, but it came out 3 wide and that halted our progress. So I sort of had no option then but to go back inside, and fortunately the gaps just opened up in time for us. But I must say the horse is racing great, and yeah, it wouldn't matter how good the drive is if the horse isn't going any good. So yeah, no, hats off to the horse. He's a great horse.
Yeah, well, last week he really impressed me with the way he sprinted in the home straight. Of course, John Caldo took the drive last week, and I thought he was a big chance again tonight. He paid pretty reasonable odds in the end. This horse does look to me like he can keep taking the next step.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my dad bought him out of New Zealand, and he's had his first 2 starts for us were both wins, and then he went to the paddock and he did very well, and I think he ran about 5 seconds, and then a third, and now he's strung 2 together. So he's got a good record. He's building a good record, and he's a great racehorse. Got a good turn of foot. So yeah, no, I would think, and he's by McArdle. Had a bit of luck with horses by McArdle in the past. They're great horses, easy to train, and got a good will to win. So yeah, no, we'll have this bloke for a little while longer, I think.
I always liked this filly. She's always had a terrific turn of speed. This evening you drew barrier number 1, ended up behind the leader, but you had to do a little bit in the last 600 metres to get out.
Yeah, we did. It was one of those ones, do you or don't you sort of thing, and I'd had a pretty good trip, and Dave just said, look, don't light her up early. If you have to buzz her off the arm, she'll pull and then she won't settle. So we just tried to save as many tokens as we could, and then went for a bit of luck later on, and she was too good.
Yeah, well, once you got away from the markers, I was thinking, oh, the Death Seat horse has done a bit of work, is under pressure, and I thought, have you pulled the right rein? And in the end, you got into that 3 wide line and everything worked out well.
Yeah, for a moment I was second-guessing myself a bit down the back going, geez, you drew this one good, but yeah, when I got on the back of Johnny, I was pretty confident.
Well, you hit the lead on the home bend. Tin Roof Raider followed you through, and Tin Roof Raider's in great form. I must admit, halfway down the straight, I thought Tin Roof Raider might grab you, but the filly really dug in for the fight.
Yeah, she sort of didn't want to get past Johnny's horse and put him away, but she was never going to let the other one pass, and that was the good fighting qualities that she's got. Once she got it within a head, she sort of just held it at bay all the way up the straight.
This is a very good trotter going places.
Yeah, I hope so. Like, he had a good break after his 3-year-old season, and it's taken him a little while to come up, but we're hoping he can just keep improving.
Well, tonight you drew the second line. You settled in the second half of the field. When you hooked out 3 wide, Dynamic Legacy decided to, or in fact Sovereign Mix decided to really pressure the leader. So you did a lot of chasing in the back straight. Yeah,
it was a good effort. They were a fair way in front of him and they weren't walking. So he had to make a long run. He really stuck it out good in the straight. Well,
Dynamic Legacy went for home shortly afterwards. He just got in behind him, just got a little bit of a breather on the turn, but it wasn't that far. Anyway, Hugo really picked up again when you asked him to. Yeah, it was definitely an improvement from first up. Like, yeah, it's hard to sort of stop their momentum and then get going again in the straight, and luckily he was good enough to do it tonight. Well, we know him as a horse that competes at group level in his own age group. Is there any extra pressure on you, when horses are first up from a spell and they're long odds on favourite, and the public just expect you to be right up there? Like, no doubt. I see someone had $10,000 on him last week or 2 weeks ago, and he got beat, which is it's pretty tough. But like, you've got to give him a break, and it's very hard to get one race fit, come back without drilling him too hard at home. So he's had plenty of trialling, but there's just nothing like racing to really tighten him up the last bit. Yes, well, tonight he was brilliant, and it looks like he's got a good campaign ahead of him. What is your main plan for him this year? Like, obviously, he's the defending size champion, so that's the main aim as a 4-year-old. We probably won't over-race him this year. The McLeans are happy just to sort of target that and the Breeders' Crown, and
yeah, well, hoping he can work his way through his grades. And, you know, his brother, the boss man, kept getting better and better, and you're hoping this horse might measure up to the best ones in a year or two time if you keep looking after him now.
Well, you gave us a little bit of a fright, and I think the horse gave you a fright down the straight.
Yeah, no, thanks, Craig. Yeah, you're not wrong. He did give me a little bit of a fright at the top of the straight. He travelled pretty well when Mickey Bellman was outside him, and just when Mick was struggling through the corner, he just got a little bit lost and a bit wayward. But when those other ones come, to his credit, he really dig deep.
Well, in two-year-old races, I think experience counts for a lot, and he had 3 starts before tonight, and a lot of the others had lesser starts than him, but in the end, it was his waywardness that nearly got him beaten.
Yeah, well, that's true. Like last week, the other week when he won here, that was the first time he'd been ran off the gate. And tonight, well, my plan was to go back drawn 7, and because there was a lot of speed underneath me, but he just wanted to run out the gate in the score up, and he give the wheel a bit of a tap, and then it was just hang on from then.
Well, he did go forward. Were you surprised to get the lead from Yanni? Yanni was one of the main chances on paper and one of the favourites, and you had a crack for the lead and you got there. Were you surprised that occurred?
Yeah, probably a little bit, you know, because it went so good at Swan Hill, but it just got out-zipped at Swan Hill, so I don't know if really it's probably better set up than what it was like tonight, but... yeah, I was a little bit surprised, but I was pretty thankful too.
Yeah, once in front, you were in control of things. Was there any time in the home straight that you thought, well, the horse has thrown it away, I've got beat?
Yeah, well, I thought that at the top of the straight when I started getting a bit slow and running in, running out, and as you say, like 2-year-olds, they're a bit wayward, they're really green, but he's learning what it's all about. But when those other ones come to him, he really dug deep. I knew I had the outside one covered, but when the one got up the fence, I thought it might have got me right on the line.
Well done, James. You drove a winner here last week and another winner tonight, so you're in good form.
Yeah, not having a bad run, you know. When you get on quality horses, though, Craig, as you know, makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, well, you gave me a bit of a heart attack last week. Lifted Talk, I was calling as if it was going to win, but it just stopped at the last 30 metres or so. But this horse didn't stop tonight. V-Rock really kicked on in the last 50 to 100 metres.
Yeah, he really dug deep tonight, you know. I thought he was gone coming into the straight, and Lance had got about a quarter of a length on him, and, you know, he just kept on fighting back, and yeah, he was pretty strong tonight.
Well, I was watching him before the start of the race. He's doing what he's just doing now, and I thought to myself, well, that's one interview I don't want to do because the horse is going to go everywhere, but he decided that he's going to win for us anyway. Yeah.
No, he's not too bad, you know. He's got a couple of little things, just like that other horse, Lift and Talk, you know. They got their little quirks. They're all individuals, so he's a pretty nice horse.
I was very impressed with Tazali's drive. I was even more impressed with the drive of Village Safari.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on tonight, but I'll take it.
Early in the race, you settled in the second half of the field. There wasn't much pace on, so you took the opportunity to come around, and then you got to follow the right horse. Looks like Heaven come around with you. Yeah,
I wasn't really fussed whether it come or not. This mare usually gets a long way back in her races, and early days we used to drive her fairly tough and she could sustain it, so I wasn't too concerned, and in all honesty, it's probably a little bit of a drop back in class to what she has been racing, so when we got round so cheap, it worked out nice.
And she's been going so well, hasn't she? She's been hitting the line strongly against much tougher class mares.
Yeah, she's been racing the best of the mares for a long, long time, and she doesn't never, ever draw good, and she's always got to do it the tough way, so tonight for her to have a rare, easy trip like that, she had a good kick left at the finish.
Yeah, down the straight, you forged to the front. Carla Clare was getting the run, was the well-supported runner, but she never really looked like catching. He always looked in control.
Yeah, once she got to the outside of Jason and saw Drew level, she just seems to accelerate and then gets in for the fight. So I wasn't really concerned. It was the main part was just getting level with Jason. While the boss is away, you might as well drive a few more winners, Josh.
Yeah, no, that's right, Craig. I'd be happy with that every weekend.
Yes, well, Chris does tend to drive a lot of winners, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does.
Well, let's hope in about 18 minutes' time he's driving the Miracle Mile with her. Kai Valley Barney tonight, very slow off the mobile again. Once he steps up to a bit better grade, you don't want to be giving away that big a start.
Nah, well, that's right. But, he's just his manners. So he was a little bit fired up tonight. That's why I didn't really want to get him too close, because I knew Murphs and that would run the gate out wide. And when he's following something like that, and if he gets too close to him and they take off, well, he just wants to charge with them. So my main aim was just to get him away, and, yeah, well, it worked.
Well, the lead time for the trotters pretty quick, but they ended up being the first 6 or 7 horses on the markers, so you needed my binoculars to see them early. You're that far back.
Yeah, no, that's right. I knew I was going to get a fair way back, but I just had to hope there was a bit of speed early and to get a good drag into it, and which he did. But I was a little bit worried down the back when I got left 3 wide so far from home, and because he doesn't really like hitting the front too early, but he's got a good turn of foot when he can use it.
Well, at the bell, when I was watching the event, Carnera was 3 deep and Aleppo Murphy on the back of Carnera, and I thought, well, Kai Valley Barney's getting this beautiful run on the back of Aleppo Murphy. He probably won't get into the breeze, but unfortunately for you, that happened. Aleppo Murphy got into the breeze and you left 3 wide, but Kai Valley Barney was still good enough.
Yeah, no, well, that was going through my mind too at the bell, and I knew Carnera would get to the chair with Desert Fly there, but I didn't think Lance would let the other one go, but I was a little bit worried once he did, and I was hoping that I could get back onto Aleppo Murphy's back down the back and sit as long as I could, but I just had to, that didn't work, so I just had to sit there and pray.
We were just discussing off air here that when was your last winner at Tabcorp Park, Melton, Lee?
For 18 months ago, I drove a trotter for Graham McDermott, Garshaway. Won the feature leading into the Derby, so that would have been my last one.
Well, after 18 months, you come here with Team of Stars tonight and you do this wonderful salute across the line. You're very happy.
Yeah. No, it's pretty good. Look, he's me horse.
I'll just let you help the horse out here with the hopple. And in fact, no, we're right.
Yeah. Look, he means a bit to us, this bloke. He's been out sort of, keeps the stable alive. We've got a bunch of dingoes and then this bloke. So, to bring him 7.5 hours down the road and have him win, it's always a pleasure,
It was a big drop back in class tonight. He's been racing against some really good horses at Menangle. So barrier 1, everything looked good for him.
Yeah, there was no Chase Auckland, Ashley Lopez, horses like that in the race. I thought they were being generous at $6. Wish I was a punting man, but, we're not allowed to. But, I thought he was entitled to be favourite and probably get a run in the number 1 M1 MO, but people down here disagreed. But, it was nice to take second prize in the shorter one.
Well, I think New South Wales form really stacks up in Victoria these days. My theory is that, Menangle, they go there and they run fast miles and the pace of the race is completely different. And when they come down here, it's a bit slower in the middle stages, and that helps them out. Is my theory correct, being a former Victorian now in New South Wales?
Yeah, it appears a lot of the time if you race horse at Menangle a few weeks in a row, and then if you sort of aim them up on a smaller track, whether it be anywhere here or New South Wales, they're a lot sharper. And he's been going 51 himself every week, getting beat 5 or 6 metres, so, he was entitled to sort of probably win with the trip he had as well.
Classy Western, been a great horse. I just looked at his prize money earnings. He's nearly up to $200,000.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's done it the hard way too. He hasn't done it through feature racing. He's just done it through his normal grades. So he's always been competitive. And the great thing about the races in Victoria, these claiming races of, where he may have been retired 2 or 3 years ago, they've given him another life,
Yeah, he's always had that very good finishing burst, and tonight, coming from off the speed, they ran along at a genuine tempo all of the way, and the leaders were just starting to come back to you, and you were able to run over them at the finish.
Yeah, it's like tonight he steered really good around the last bend, which he can always be his downfall, but tonight he was on his game, and I know there's a lot of people probably don't like this horse, and I'm probably one of them people sometimes, but when he's right, he's a good horse.